Inside Mercer Basketball with Coach Bob Hoffman and your host Rick Cameron. Brought to you by Wild Wing Cafe.
Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Wild Wing Cafe in Macon, Georgia. We're here to talk inside Mercer Basketball with Mercer head coach Bob Hoffman. Coach, as we sit here a week later, 2 more conference games on the road, very important games down at Jacksonville. I think the signs of a good leader are one that have your team and coaching staff prepared should something unordinary occur. And certainly last week you had to be extremely proud of how your staff and team performed in Jacksonville.
Well, it was an amazing accomplishment what our guys were able to do. They stepped up, our staff led by Coach Wright, who we'll get to visit with a little bit later on the show. Doug Eslick, Jake Nelp, all the guys that are part of our staff made great strides in getting things done when I wasn't able to be around. Our players were on point, so to speak, and everything that they did did it together. And we had a great week of practice and preparation, and then we got to Jacksonville, and those guys went after it at North Florida and got it done with a 19-point victory on the road. That was just a fantastic win.
Coach, before we leave that win, last year Parker Smith, 46 points, 11 threes.
You have to remind me?
Only because this year we walk out of the same gym,
okay.
The team, a total of 47 points. So
right.
Certainly a great job of adjusting from last year and turning the results around.
Well, I mean, we were hoping that he might eat something that wasn't good for him. It wouldn't have been here, but it would have been somewhere. And we were hoping he might eat something that wasn't quite help him get the 46 that he did that one night last year. It was amazing how he stepped up and made shot after shot, falling down and tripping and everything else. I mean, he's just a great shooter, and you can't give him any good looks. And our guys did a fantastic job of being together and understanding the game plan and keeping him from getting those looks. And our staff did a great job of preparation in taking away some of the things that they wanted to get done. But make no mistake about it, even though he only scored 6, the next time we play him, it could be a different night because he is one of the best shooters in our league and maybe not one of the best shooters in the country.
He did come back with 32 the next game against Kennesaw, so you're exactly right.
Yeah, we like that. That's okay.
Now moving on to Jacksonville, we've had the rivalry with the Dolphins so many years, a very physical game once again, and unfortunately just came up 2 points short.
Yeah, we were right there. We just didn't get any points in the second half in the paint, which you've got to do. We only had 6 free throws in the whole night. I mean, we're right now shooting free throws at a really good clip, on top 20 in the country, and field goal free throw percentage. And that's something we got to continue to do. But if we're going to shoot like that, we need to get to the line more, and you do that by getting in the lane, making plays, getting bumps, getting and ones. And we got to do a lot of that coming this week as we prepare for East Tennessee State and South Carolina Upstate.
Coach, we'll talk more in the show about the upcoming games, but the Atlantic Sun Conference, we knew coming in it could be anybody's to win. Already now we have, 6 teams with 2 losses, 2 more with 3. Certainly, even this early in the season, you can already judge and predict that it's going to be a horse race all the way through the first week of March.
Well, it's not anything unusual. It's kind of been that way a lot of years, but I don't know if it's been this way this early in the season. And had to have so many teams right there with only 2 losses. That's an amazing thing. And I think once you kind of get through the first round, which we're about 4 games away from, we'll have a better understanding of where the league's headed. And for us, we need to be at the top somehow, some way. And the next few games are critical to be in that position as we move forward.
Coach, finally, this segment I'd like for you to share with us. We talked about our 2 seniors last week's show. This week, talk about the junior class as a total. It may be one of the best classes that Mercer has ever had, both in quantity and quality, but I think they really stepped up and provided the leadership as an underclassmen group, especially last week.
Well, I think those guys, first of all, they're quality guys. So they're good players, and they do a great job in the classroom. Last year we were close to a 2.95 as overall GPA for the whole year, which would be real high in the whole country in basketball circles and college basketball. But then you look at these individuals and what they've been able to accomplish and how they've raised their game, and they raised their game on that Thursday night for us to be successful. We talked about Langston Hall a little bit on last week's program, how how great a leader he is and how he gets things done at a high level. And we saw that in him. We thought projected him in high school because of the way he was so vocal and how he communicated on the floor, even in high school, which is very unusual these days, that he could get that done. And so far, he's really done a great job for us. I think he definitely can say he'll go down as one of the best leaders in Mercer basketball history, being here for 4 years. I don't know what records he's going to set as we get to the end. And then you got the big boys, Monty Brown, who came here from a prep school, has continued to develop. There's a lot of room for improvement, but he's helped us in many big games, had 13 against Georgia Tech last year when we won that game. And then Daniel Corsi, who was in the top 20 in block shots last year, hasn't reached that level yet, but I think he's on the verge of getting it back and being in the right place. He had 20 at Alabama this year for us to win. We really need those guys playing at a high level for us to be successful. So those are three of them. Then you go to Bud Thomas, who's done a great job for us in all kinds of different ways. And Kevin Canaveri comes off the bench and makes play after play. And I know I'm leaving somebody out. Who am I leaving out?
Jake Gollum would be the next one. I'm sure you'd mention.
Well, he's really not a junior. He's about a multi-year quadruple senior, whatever he is. But he is the unspoken leader, and then he speaks a lot and does a great job of communicating. We love him, and he makes big play after big play, and we need him continue to play the way he has at this point for us to be successful down the stretch.
And we're going to be talking with these guys individually one in a week. In upcoming shows, we'll be certainly to do that. All right, in our next segment, we're going to talk with another member of the coaching staff, Associate Head Coach Spencer Wright. Well, we return with more Inside Mercer Basketball.
So here's the game plan. Rush into the Wild Wing Cafe and tackle one of our new steakhouse burgers. 100% Angus, 100% great. It's an all-star lineup that can win you tickets to the biggest games of the year. Where? At the Wild Wing. The Wild Wing. The
Wild Wing. For over 20 years, Mercer has relied on Forsyth Street Orthopedics.
Their team of doctors help keep our players on the court.
As a graduate of Mercer and a partner of Forsyth Street Orthopedics, we are proud to sponsor and take care of Mercer athletes. We work with Mercer Sports Medicine to return our injured athletes to competition as soon as their injuries allow and hopefully protect them from further injury.
Forsyth Street Orthopedics, getting better together.
Go Bears!
Well, back at Wild Wing Cafe, we're talking Mercer basketball with the head coach Bob Hoffman. We've got a special treat this evening. Joining us, Associate Head Coach Spencer Wright, a gentleman that has known Coach a lot longer than any of the rest of us. So, Coach, you've known Coach Hoffman from this player's perspective, the coach's perspective. Tell us the Bob Hoffman, the first time you met Coach, compared to the Coach Hoffman that we all know today.
Well, when I first seen Coach Hoffman, he just seemed so calm on the sidelines, and that's the coach that I played for. But when I started working for him, I seen a different side. I was like, that never came out when I played, or maybe I just ignored it.
All right, Coach, now seriously, you've seen Coach develop players that come in at one level. Certainly he raises the bar of them and their basketball talent, but also I've seen the difference he makes in young men and becoming men. Tell us about the development of players in all aspects, Coach, of working with Coach Hoffman.
Well, it's just about developing, like you said, developing young men, and as you're bringing them in and you send them on their way and they've done it 4 years, you want them to be better people than when they first came in, and that's what Coach Hoffman does a really good job of. It's just small things. It's not anything huge. It's just, saying please and thank you. And going into a restaurant, ordering your food, you say thank you, yes ma'am, no sir, things like that makes a big difference.
Coach, there are a lot of hours in coaching. There's many days of the year. It's a lot of hard work, a lot of criticism involved. But on the positive side of it, what do you get out of it that keeps you doing it day in and day out?
Just the enjoyment of when you get a young man as a freshman and then you see him walk across that stage and get his degree after 4 years, that's the proudest thing. That's what I'm proud of.
Now, Coach Hoffman, you join in with us and talk with us. Obviously, Coach Wright is your associate head coach.
Right.
Tell us how you depend on him in making you successful.
Well, I mean, Spence is an amazing individual. He's been tremendous for us for a lot of years. This is the 10th year in college basketball together. We did 1 year in the D League together, so 11 years coaching together. And then he was around me a couple years as a player, so for him to stay around after all that, that's probably the second longest relationship besides my wife. So 32 years she's been with me, and Spencer's been with me 11, and he knows all my warts and knows all my hiccups. But the great thing is he's just a silent leader. He's calm when I'm crazy, and I think that's been great for us. He does a great job of recognizing talent. And he really enjoys being around young men, and it's been a blessing to have him. This last week was a great illustration of how he was able to step up. Spence, talk about a little bit, since I had to set out those last 2 games, and you were the head coach, and talk about what that meant to you and the opportunity you had, and what led to as far as your mindset going into those 2 games, and what was the difference moving 6 inches over and being the head coach for a couple games?
The first thing is, you're moving over 6 inches to your right to be the head coach, and you have to make decisions.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing, making the right decisions, because no matter what, it's all going to fall on your shoulders. Preparing for last week, it was just not trying to do anything that I wanted to do, just staying status quo with what the program was, making sure the guys were prepared, making sure the guys did what they were supposed to do and ready for the basketball game. It's a tough job. I got to see it from a different perspective, being a head coach at that time for 2 games, and it was great. A lot of associate head coaches don't get that opportunity unless there's something that really happens to the head coach. You look at some of the bigger schools, the associate head coaches, they never get to coach an actual game. And that was a great experience for me.
Especially the Jacksonville game with 9 seconds to go and having to make that call of what play to run.
Hey, don't get very comfortable with that. You sound like, you're kind of liking that thing. You can't be liking that much. I appreciate you stepping up and all, but we need to be careful here where we're going with all that. It's good to enjoy the moment, but we're out of the moment now, so we got to move on. And I appreciate you stepping up, and I hope you'll enjoy moving 6 inches back over.
Coach, there are Coach Hoffman, a lot of other things that you guys need to work together. Scheduling and recruiting are 2 major areas. Tell us how you coordinate between the 2 of you, Coach, recruiting and scheduling.
Well, Spence does a lot of legwork. For a long time, I did all the scheduling. That's the hardest job in basketball, scheduling. And when we were at Texas Pan American, we had no conference, so we had to schedule every game that we played, trying to get a game in every week, and that was almost impossible. So what we have now, and having 18 league games, that's a blessing. A lot of people look at it as a harness, basically, but I look at it as a blessing. Spence does a great job of that, and then he also leads out in recruiting all over, spending a lot of time in Georgia. Spence, talk about a little bit of the scheduling stuff that you and I go through on a daily basis. We worked on it today even.
Scheduling is tough because sometimes you don't get the whole skinny from the people that you're dealing with. That's the toughest part, because they hold their cards so close to their chest, and everyone's looking for a home game just like you're looking for a home game, and that's the hardest part of scheduling.
All right, Coach, as we look, I think our time is about up for this segment, but finish up.
Well, before we get there,
Coach.
what he's being nice
Yes.
is basically they all lie.
Oh, okay.
Coaches lie more in scheduling than anything else, and it's awful. That's why it's so bad. You don't like doing it. It's the most ridiculous thing. I wish there was an agency that just did all the scheduling, told everybody they had to play those games. But everybody's trying to get a one-up, like Spence said. But he does a great job with that, and we're thankful to have him a part of our program. Him, Amy, and Bryce have been a part of us ever since Bryce was born, and we're grateful. They're here in Macon doing what they do best, and that's helping us be successful. And it's been an amazing run. We hope we have a fantastic finish to this season as we move forward.
And these days, when he hits the floor, we have to almost give him a name tag because he's about half the size that he was this time last year.
Yeah, that's right. He looks great. Looks great.
Great shape. Okay, we're going to be back in just a moment to talk with our point guard, Langston Hall, when we return in just a moment with more on Inside Mercer Basketball.
Owner, you need to choose the financial direction that's best for you to find a clear path to growth and success. At BB&T, we support businesses of all sizes with personal service and advice, sharing the sound financial knowledge we've gained over more than 140 years so you can move ahead with confidence. Talk to us today about your business goals. BB&T, sharing knowledge for a brighter direction.
DNA augmentation initiated. Neural speeds increasing to 4G LTE. Brain upgrading to a quad-core processor. Precognitive intelligence with Google Now complete.
Introducing Droid DNA by HTC. It's not an upgrade to your phone, it's an upgrade to yourself.
We're back in Hawkins Arena where the Bears play basketball each and every night. And as we look in the trophy case, Langston Hall, our junior point guard from Atlanta, Georgia, played at Chamblee High School. Langston, memories there?
Lots of memories. It was a great experience.
Langston. And of course, you being named the most valuable player, Langston. I know you've had many highlights in your career, but how would that rank among all the other good things that have happened to you?
I think right now that would be number one because that's the first ring I've gotten. I've never gotten a ring in high school, never won a championship, so I think this is the biggest one.
All right, Langston, now as we came off the CIT and so many starters back, this great junior class that you're a member of, but had a little hiccup in an exhibition practice early on. I'm guessing, I haven't asked you, but the ankle injury, was that the first injury that you had to keep you out of playing time?
Yes, sir. That's the first time I actually had to miss a game since I've been in college. So actually, I think it's the first time I've missed a game ever. I think I never missed a game in high school either, so just a little hiccup.
Tell us about the initial reaction when you knew you were hurt and what went through your mind at that point.
I just felt like I was letting my teammates down a little bit because I wouldn't be able to be out there. We've been working so hard in the off season to get back together and just keep working hard. And so I basically just thought I was letting them down a little bit.
But Langston, knowing you as we all do, so disciplined, probably some guys may not be back yet, but you did what the doctors told you to do and the training staff, and here you are back and already back at the point guard. Now we've got several games to go, but at this point, how close to 100% back do you feel like you may be?
I feel like I'm almost 100% right now. Brad, our trainer, did a great job getting me back. He's put me through some great rehab, him and Amos. Yeah. So I think that's really who it goes to.
All right, Langston, you're the point guard of this team. You have been since the day you arrived here, the quarterback that makes it all happen. What does that mean to you, knowing night in and night out that the majority of the minutes we play, that the ball's in your hands coming across half court to get things going?
I feel like my job's easy because I have a lot of great players around me with Travis Smith, Bud, Jake, Corsi, Monty, and pretty much everybody. So my job is just easy, facilitate the ball, give it to them in positions where they can make shots and take open shots.
Now, Langston, we talk about, and it's easy to do in basketball, talk about the offensive numbers, whether it be points scored or rebounds, but the fact at this point, your team is 8th in the country at points allowed. You guys take a lot of pride playing defense as well.
I think so, because right now we've been struggling on the offensive end a little bit, so we know we have to step it up on defense. I think we've been doing a great job of that. And if we keep doing that, our offense is going to start clicking, and we're going to be ready to go.
Yeah. Now, Langston, during the course of a game, whether not necessarily the scoreboard, but how soon do you get a feel if, man, things are clicking today? Is it off the tip, maybe at first media break? But I know you've got a sense, you've run this team for so long, but when do you get a sense of we really got it all together today?
Pretty much by the first media, you can tell how the offense is flowing, how we're cutting hard, getting the ball inside, because usually at the beginning of games, we try and get the ball inside, get a quick basket, and if we usually do that to start the game, probably going to be in for a good night.
All right, tell us something about Langston Hall that folks sitting down in these seats might not realize. Who's Langston Hall behind the scenes when he's not on that floor?
I just like to hang out in my room with some of my teammates. We play cards a lot. They play video games. I don't really play as much. We just like to hang out and have a good time.
Now, the time you've been here we are in your junior year, any particular highlight? Of course, we know the CIT championship was huge, but anything individually, personal-wise, that has happened to you that you're always going to remember from your experience here?
I don't think it's a personal memory. I think just when we beat Georgia Tech, it was a great feeling because I'm from the Atlanta area, so that was a big win for me. And that was pretty much the biggest one right there.
All right, Langston, looking ahead of the future after Mercer, what are your goals and aspirations?
Hopefully to play basketball first, and if that doesn't work out, then maybe going to working at a bank or something like that because I'm majoring in finance right now. And so that'll be my best hope right now.
Another thing about playing for Coach Hoffman, I know you guys went to the Children's Hospital yesterday, so it's really a great experience playing for Coach Hoffman and playing with this program. It's not just about basketball, is it? You guys develop individually your character and become better people. Is that a true assessment?
I think definitely, because going to the Children's Hospital yesterday for the new guys who didn't go with us last year, it's big because it's really a sad moment to see a lot of those kids struggling at such a young age, and doing that just makes you realize how lucky you are.
When you make that lap around the floor after a big win at home, how does it make you feel when you see those kids lined up wanting to shake your hand coming around?
It makes you feel great knowing that they came all the way down to support you and your team, so helped a lot.
All right, Langston, just a few days away down the road in March, the conference tournament. We've let it slip away a couple of times. Tell us your thoughts as the point guard of this team, what to look forward to this year.
I think we just have to keep getting better game by game and keep trying to execute on offense. And when it gets down to March, hopefully we can bring a trophy back to Mercer.
All right, Langston, thanks for being with us today. We appreciate all that you do, your leadership ability. Langston Hall, our junior point guard from Atlanta, Georgia, visiting with us today. Now we're going to head back up to the Wild Wing and Coach Hoffman with more Inside Mercer Basketball.
So here's the game plan. Rush into the Wild Wing Cafe and tackle one of our new steakhouse burgers. 100% Angus, 100% great. It's an all-star lineup that can win you tickets to the biggest games of the year. Where? At the Wild Wing. The Wild Wing. The Wild
Wing. I was looking through the paper and I saw a really good ad from 5-Star Ford in Warner Robins. So when I went, I was actually really picky, and my salesperson worked with me until I finally found the truck that I liked, and it was a black Ford 2011 F-150 XLT Super Crew. And it actually has an EcoBoost, so it's a little bit better on gas, and I love it. I would definitely recommend 5-Star to all my friends.
Well, back at Wild Wing Cafe with Mercer head coach Bob Hoffman talking about Mercer Hoops. Coach, we're about halfway through playing our Atlantic Sun foes, and things are starting to roll out kind of crazy as we thought they would. But two, I hate to say critical, all the games are critical, but East Tennessee State, South Carolina Upstate, two big games, they're home games. And you and I have talked many, many times the importance of playing well at home. 5 of the next 7 are at home, starting with ETSU.
Yeah, let's focus on the one. I know you like to look way far in advance, but let's stay on task here. And we got East Tennessee State.
Let's talk about the Bucks, Coach.
They had an amazing comeback at home. They were down 19 with 16 minutes to go in their building, and they ended up winning by 10 against Florida Gulf Coast, one of the best teams in the league. Probably for sure, everybody would say they're the best offensive team in the league and one of the best offensive teams in America, as they're able to score at a high rate, beat Miami at home, University of Miami at home, who had a road win in the ACC just the other night. So that was a fantastic come from behind win. They're going to be tough to beat. Murray Bartow does a great job. They're going to zone. They're going to pressure us. We're going to have to take care of the ball. We're going to have to hit some open shots. We've got to get some points in the paint somehow, some way against that zone, and not stand around and cast up threes all night. And that's one thing we've been working on. And then we move right into USC Upstate, who Coach Payne's done a great job putting together a tremendous amount of talent. And every year, the last few years, it's been a battle every time we played them. So they're going to bring in great shooters. Torrey Craig, one of the best players in the league, who can hit it from anywhere. I mean, he's in range when he gets in the building, so he'll be looking to get shots. We call that logo range. So he's definitely got logo range, and we're going to have to be ready for him. And they got other pieces that are tough to guard too.
Well, we talked about 5 of 7 at home, and we in last week.
Stay on task one at a time.
Okay, but we want to talk about the importance now of Hawkins Arena, and the intensity we want to prevail. We've got a home court advantage in the fact that we haven't lost a home game this season, haven't lost since the ASUN Tournament last year. Now, as the program airs throughout the Southeast, we want to continue to have the true home court advantage.
Right, we do. I mean, it's been great. I mean, we have 8 in a row right now. We'd love to finish these next 7 that we have at home before we get into conference tournament play. That'd be great if we were 15 in a row going into conference tournament, that we won all those at home. Last year we had a chance to win every game in the conference. We lost to Belmont the last game of the year at home. Had an opportunity to shot at the buzzer to win that one. So it'd be really a push forward. It would mean that we probably put ourselves in a position of a chance to win the league if we do that. So every game at home is probably double to the ones on the road, in the sense that if you lose them, it's hard to get them back, and you put yourself in jeopardy to having a chance to win the league at the end.
Coach, we talked about all the positive things that happened in the road trip last week, but certainly a 2-point loss, so very disappointing. Now, you've got a mature team, a team that played a lot of games last year. Tell us the mindset of this team, as you know it better than anyone else, as we approach these 2 games this weekend.
Well, I thought Monday we were just okay, and sometimes that happens when you have a Sunday off before you get into your practice, but yesterday was one of the best practices we had. Guys were energetic. I thought it was a little more like we had last week before we left for Jacksonville. So I'm excited about seeing how we put that to practice, how we put that into the game plan, and how we play tomorrow night against East Tennessee State. That's going to be huge for us. How we accomplish that. I mean, we've got to be ready. Those guys always play hard, and they play with great energy, and we're going to have to be ready to get it done.
All right, Coach, I know I have the greatest respect for all of your assistant coaches. They really did so well last week, but I'll be honest with you, when the ball tips up tomorrow evening, it's going to be a welcoming sight for me to look across that arena floor and see you walking the sideline.
Well, I'll be glad to be there, and Lord willing, I'll get a chance to be there. If creeks don't rise and all that good stuff, is the way it's raining right now, it might be, but I'm thankful I'll get to be back, and looking forward to it with great anticipation, maybe more than any game in a long time. About to be a part of. And I'm thankful and grateful to be there.
Very good, Coach. Okay, that's going to wrap it up for this edition. We'll be back next week here at Wild Wing Cafe. We'd love to have you to join us when we return to talk more inside Mercer basketball with Mercer head coach Bob Hoffman.